Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. Jared here with another video from Fanboys Forever. I just wanted to share some of my initial thoughts and impressions about the new CW show, Superman and Lois. That's right, it's not Lois and Clark, but indeed it is Superman and Lois. And I've been really excited about this because I am a huge fan of what Tyler Hoechlin has done. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, I hope. On Supergirl, I thought he was a really good Superman for what limited things he's got to do on there, and I was really curious what would happen if he was given the shot to do it for real. And I really didn't think that it was something they would ever go for, something that Warner Brothers would ever let them do necessarily, but indeed they have. I guess we should just clarify what this is going to be. I'll go ahead and just give you some general thoughts right here at the beginning for anybody who doesn't want spoilers or anything like that, and then we'll transition right into the spoiler portion of the review. So first off, non-spoiler thoughts. It's really, really, really good. Like, it really is. I appreciated it and enjoyed it just from being a long-time comic book reading Superman fan. Someone who's enjoyed Superman in all of his iterations. I guess I would describe myself as someone who loves the Christopher Reeves movies, but also thinks that Man of Steel is a really underrated film. So I'm definitely in that middle-of-the-road camp, and for a fan like me, it was actually able to still get the job done. So I'll tell you, it's really good. I think the performances are very genuine. And I believe the CW probably spent more money on this than they usually would for something of this nature. Everything looked really good. Costume design and the effects were really, really, really nice. Music was terrific. So I definitely suggest it. I feel like that they have put their best foot forward with this thing. And there's some things that need work with the series, and we'll get into all of those. I think that there's definitely a balancing act that the show is going to, I think it might be challenging to nail when it comes to balancing between Superman and his family, and we'll get more into that with spoilers and things of that nature. But really, it all comes off better than I thought it would from reading the synopsis of what they wanted to do with the show. And I think for the most part that they achieve what they want. So from here on out, I guess, we're going to have spoilers. So if you do want to experience it on your own first, I think it is streaming for free, probably by the time you watch this on the CW app. So that is a perfectly great way to watch it. Get in there and watch it, and then come back to the video. Like I said, turn back now if you don't want to know. But the little like montage at the beginning of it, which kind of reminded me of like All-Star Superman a little bit, was just great. I loved the concise and elegant way that it kind of gave you the full, like life story, history of Superman right then and there. Like, it really did it in a very concise way. I don't think truncated is the right word. I think it was just very, like I said, elegant. I think that's the best word. You get to see the most significant moments of Superman's life kind of flash before you. And one of the biggest things, and what I was wondering about is, of course, we know Superman has a new costume in this. And I was thinking, okay, they're about to show Superman doing like his first stuff in Metropolis. Why would he have the new costume? And sure enough, I could not believe what I saw. But they did the actual like Fleischer, like from the cartoons of the 40s, those classic animated cartoons. They did that Superman costume in live action. It's hard to believe. I can't believe it's taken this long for someone to try it. At least I think this is the first time it's ever been tried. But there it was. And I was shocked, to say the least. And so I knew right away that we were dealing with people who appreciated, I think, the Superman character, and people who didn't just say take it for granted, or, that it was just another CW show or something like that. This is, I think that signified right away that these guys were really trying to do something special. I don't know who was responsible for that choice, but whoever they are, God bless them. It worked out beautifully, and I loved seeing that. Another element that worked like right away for me was the effects. Just the high caliber of effects that they were doing, especially at the beginning when Superman has to solve the crisis at the nuclear power plant. Really, really terrific. And it's funny because the CGI looked better than when Superman picks up the giant island at the end of Superman Returns. That really shows you how far we've come in, 15 years. When those kinds of effects are being done better on television than they were 15 years ago on like a big budget, mega budget blockbuster film. So it looked great. It just really was just fantastic. I thought the tone was nailed right away for Superman himself. And to me, usually the point in one of these kinds of shows where it kind of falls apart or it comes off the rails would usually be something, like he comes home and it's like, oh no, family drama stuff. And I only felt that just a little bit in a couple of little spots. But they do some things to keep it fun and to keep that interesting. I particularly thought it was a really good idea, the way that they developed that Superman has these two twin sons, and, they're not identical or anything, but they are twins. And there's Jonathan, who is the more like athletic and kind of, jockey kind of kid that was easier to raise. And then you have the more kind of troubled, kind of anxiety-ridden kid, Jordan, that he has. And it's interesting what they chose to do there, because it gives Superman a challenge that is much tougher and more complicated than lifting a giant iceberg or, stopping a nuclear power plant from melting down. And I think one that a lot of viewers are going to be able to relate to as well. Raising kids, teaching kids, any of that is tough. And so I think that it's going to appeal to a broader base that way. And it's pretty much characterized pretty well. There is something, a little continuity thing that I will get into a little bit later. It worked pretty well. And I like the setup that they're living in Metropolis and things aren't really working out there because Superman kind of feels so disconnected from raising his kids. And I think that works as a dramatic angle for the show. I particularly thought it was funny that Superman tries to come in and talk to Jordan at the beginning, and Jordan is playing like Injustice or one of those, and he's playing Raiden. Superman assumes he's playing Superman, but no, he's actually playing Raiden, beating up Superman. He says Superman's boring, which the big reveal, of course, is that Superman and Lois have not actually told their children that he's Superman, and I think that adds another wrinkle of drama. One of the other things that I'll say about the family dynamic in the show is that I feel like it works, and it's not some kind of odd family angle that was, I don't know, disingenuous. And I always felt like Superman Returns' weird family angle, where they're trying to say that, Superman is like a father and he didn't know it, but Lois is with this other guy. It felt very unnatural and weird. And of course, in the movie's worst moments, it felt a little creepy, and that's all, that's been memed to death or whatever. But this totally bypasses all of that. There's not a weird, vibe to any of it. This is what you would have imagined to be the next evolution for Superman and Lois. This is, it feels like these characters are genuine, and it feels like the family is real. We already know that Tyler Hoechlin has done really good work on the other CW shows as Superman, but he does better work here, much better work. He's, of course, anchoring his own series, which is already a big deal, but the range he displays here is so much better than what he got to do in guest appearances, on Supergirl. It's a whole nother ball game, I would say. Another thing, and, one of the great, I think, moments that really shows this is when he goes and he tries to get back to Smallville as fast as he can when he finds out that Ma Kent has died. And that's just heartbreaking. And Hoechlin really, he knocks it out of the park with that scene. But he's not the only one. There's a terrific range of actors in it. They're all doing such a great job. I'm not going to go on and on about it. I think that the two sons are very well cast. I'm not familiar with the actors, the young actors, of course. I certainly think that they have fulfilled the roles as written very nicely. I think that you're meant to connect more easily, actually, with Jordan, who's supposed to be like the more troubled kid. But to me, he came off as much more empathetic and even a little more believable than Jonathan did. And I don't think that that's a problem with the actor. I think he did it exactly like they wanted to. But, it becomes clear as the episode goes on that maybe that is the intention, because it's a running theme through the episode. Which one of them has powers? Maybe one of them has powers, but we don't know which kid it is. And playing with that drama, that little, inequality between the sons, kind of sibling rivalry or inferiority complex or whatever you want to call it, I think that's interesting. And it was a good angle, I think, to explore in this first episode. It kind of surprised me that they resolved it as quickly as they did, because I sort of thought they would play with that a little, they would draw it out a little more, which is actually a compliment to the show, because the last thing anybody wants to see from a CW superhero show is for them to draw something out forever and ever and ever, which is probably the greatest sin of a Flash or an Arrow or something like that. To me, it's the kind of like, okay, we get it, all right, move on to the next thing. I'm thinking that Superman and Lois is more of a, it almost feels like a limited event series and not something where they're just trying to keep the wheel spinning as long as they can. This definitely feels like it's in a league of production value that's sort of its own. And that's another element of this that we need to talk about. Superman gets a new costume, and obviously, when you're the lead of a show and you're not just a guest star, that's for obvious reasons that you're going to get, a new wardrobe and all this. But this suit is so nice. It's ridiculous how good the suit is. And when you look at the old Supergirl suit, and it was a fine Superman costume, it really was, but particularly like the cape area as it connects to the shoulders, I think that once you see the difference in how they do it here versus what they did back there, it becomes obvious which one is superior. The mysterious villain that Superman fights, yes, mysterious, and all the armor looks just like the Doomslayer. I'm sorry, from the Doom games, like exactly like the Doomslayer. Of course, at the end of the episode, we get a hint that armor will change and kind of evolve as we go. And I'm going to save that one for a surprise. I do not want to spoil anything about the villain and about who he is. So you can find that out for yourself. I don't want to inadvertently spoil that. But as the series goes on, they go back to Smallville, of course, to deal with Clark's mother dying. And then when they get there, the boys discover Clark's spaceship, tales all this time. They start to put it together. And finally, there is one of the best scenes in the whole thing. Clark makes the dramatic reveal to the boys that he is Superman. And there is some really terrific music. And I'm hearing the kind of hints of a really strong Superman theme that I hope that they expand on and they're a little more bombastic about in the coming episodes, because that is, it sounds great. They really stumbled upon something good there. I just love the scene. The emotion of the scene was really high. The kid who plays Jordan, he actually had tears going down his face as he kind of, I guess it's more of, he's in awe, but he also feels betrayed because he knows that they've been lying to him all of this time. I felt like that came together really well. And even though it comes off as maybe a little whiny, and that's the last thing these CW shows need to do is, more whiny teenagers or something like that, I felt like it was pretty genuine. I guess you would feel fairly betrayed by your parents if they had kept something like that from you. And I think that the show does a lot to make sure that they circle back around at the end of it and make sure that, that they're a strong family and it's not just going to be the show that's dedicated to dysfunction, which I think is the last thing you would want from a Superman family show, where the whole thing just feels like, everybody's just mad at each other and all the kids hate Superman. He's the worst dad ever. No, we don't need to get into like Superman Returns, like deadbeat dad kind of accusations, because it's just frustrating. It actually feels like Superman and Lois aren't like some kind of dysfunctional couple. It feels like that, the care for each other is very real. It's very present in the show. It's almost like a This Is Us kind of thing. Anybody who's familiar with that show, that it assumes the best about people. Of course, as the episode goes on, there is a kind of middle portion, which is indicative of almost any kind of pilot situation, where things slow down a little bit. But I never once felt like, okay, this is just stupid or this is aggravating. And if you notice the whole scene where Jordan goes to the bonfire and there's revelations, and I'll let you watch that to discover it on your own. That's probably the closest to like a CW, like teenager kind of thing. But notice how they intercut that with Superman fighting the mystery villain in the armor. And that was, I think that's them being very aware that they are trying to reach two different sorts of audiences with this show. And them intercutting that is trying to almost beg each side of that audience to stick around. I certainly hope that they realize that they need to, of course, appease Superman fans first. And then, then you can introduce the other elements, the teenage drama, the family drama stuff and all that. But I think as long as they keep it focused on Superman trying to keep the family together, I think that will appease Superman fans, because really that's the parts of the show that I enjoy the very most are just Tyler Hoechlin doing the kind of, Superman, wow, he's just such a decent guy, earnest kind of portrayal that I don't think we've seen in a few years from Superman in adapted media. And that is not a knock against Henry Cavill. I think that's a very different kind of thing. And I think that he has his own unique spin on it. And I can't wait to see the Snyder Cut, by the way. But this is just very different. Tyler Hoechlin is much more of the familiar kind of Superman that we all know. As a matter of fact, the best compliment I could probably give this show as a big fan of Superman comics and a historian of the character is that it feels like that this could happen within comic continuity, like along down the line. And I know that that's in a very general sense. I don't mean like specifically into the minutia and into the like exacts of where the continuity could lead. What I'm talking about is emotionally and characterization. I think all of that leads to this from the comics, and I think the writers have done a really good job of writing something that you don't have to have ever seen any of the Superman stuff that the CW has done, ever. You can just walk in. If you had watched the first Christopher Reeve film, Superman 1, you didn't even have to see Superman 2, you could watch this and it would feel like something that, is a natural continuation. Or if you were someone like me who was really disappointed in Superman Returns, but loved Brandon Routh, by the way, then this could be like the redemption for you. And that's probably one of the other good things that I'm going to say about it, is it feels like that this scratched an itch from 15 years ago when I was, I guess, devastated is the right word. I watched Superman Returns and I was devastated. I had a lot of hype riding on the movie, and I was so jazzed for that movie, and it failed to deliver for me. And like I said, not Brandon Routh's fault, but a lot of the other people involved, definitely their fault. Not Frank Langella's fault either, because he was fantastic as Perry White. This is kind of the culmination of some of those ideas about Superman having a family and being a father, but it's done the way that comic book fans would expect it to be done, and not all the bull that we saw in Superman Returns. So I have to say, it was terrific. I would definitely give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. Really, really, really good. Not quite as powerful emotionally as, say, the Flash pilot, because that was kind of lightning in a bottle. Yes, I made the joke. But I do think it is much better on a production level than the Flash was, or even is, usually. I think it's on much more steady footing, just as a kind of what they're going for, a superhero family drama show, which I think that this is going to succeed very, very, very easily at. And if that tease at the end is anything to go by, then I am very pumped about where this is going. Last little thing, and I'll address that continuity thing I was talking about earlier. In Crisis on Infinite Earths, at the end of it, there is a lead-in to Superman and Lois, where Lois is like, "You got to come home, our sons," or whatever. Superman's like, "Our sons? What?" And he's all like surprised and everything, and he flies back. I remember thinking, okay, so this is going to be like Superman is the only one who knows that he didn't have sons in the previous reality. That is not the case here, or if it is, they're like hiding it. This is as if Superman had always known that he had sons and that it was always a thing. They kind of did away with that. I think that was more of just kind of a throwaway, like, promotional thing for Superman and Lois before they even like really knew what the show would be. So that is just a funny little continuity thing. There is a significant recasting of a big character who is not who you've seen play this character in the CW shows up until this point. I will let you see who that is and what that is. And we'll see how that works. I'm really curious about it, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm definitely very open-minded and excited to see where it goes. So in the end, I will just say that if you're a Superman fan, as I am, then you owe it to yourself to give this show a try. And I think you're going to enjoy it. If you're somebody who couldn't quite wrap their heads around what they were trying to do with Lois and Clark, or you were not feeling Smallville — I had a hard time feeling most of Smallville, actually — try this one out. This is the Superman show we've been waiting for, and I think that it seems, so far, just from the pilot anyway, it does seem like it's a worthy follow-up to that spirit of the Adventures of Superman, George Reeves and things like that. This is more in that vein. This is a Superman adventure show mixed with the kinds of modern drama sensibilities that you would see on television today. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this discussion about the brand new show, Superman and Lois on the CW, but I can't wait to see what they do, and I really enjoyed myself. Guys, don't forget, for more discussion videos, more toy reviews, and everything geek-related here on Fanboys Forever, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Of course, hit that bell for all the notifications so that you don't miss a single video coming down the pipeline. And as always, guys, God bless you and yours, and be safe out there. I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Take care. Fanboy out.